Hey everyone, a while back I posted this sketch and I got many requests for a tutorial for it, especially on how I draw the fire with ballpoint pen. So I decided to draw the entire drawing again and record everything for you. It's probably gonna be two videos, one of the dragon heads and the second video is gonna be the fire. So grab a pen and a piece of paper if you want to draw along, and let's get started. First I'm gonna draw a rough outline of the head. I'm holding the pen a little bit further back so I can sketch really light. That way if I do make mistakes I can still draw over that, and yes, the wrong lines will be there, but it wouldn't be too much of a problem. And you can probably hear my washing machine in the background or some noises from outside. Yeah, it's I don't have like a fancy studio or something where I can work in silence. I have to do with what I have, but I'm just happy that I have this room where I can record my videos and where I can draw. So I hope that is okay with you. Maybe I'll make this a little bit longer. There are several ways that you can draw a head. You can first fill in the shapes, like here would be a circle for the jaw, and you can box this in like the nose part or the muzzle or the snout. I don't know how to call that, but I often imagine the large circle here, and then I just draw a rough outline, really light, so I can adjust, because we're gonna add spines and decoration to the dragon anyway. When we draw, we often want to control too much, and then we hold ourselves back, because if I would work with a pencil I would have completely erased this, then I wouldn't be satisfied with it. But sometimes we just need to continue drawing, because you will see that when we're further into the drawing this will actually start to click. This will start to make sense. I'm going to locate the eye around here. Again, I keep drawing really light so I can make adjustments. And the neck will be around here. I think the skull will end around here. Later on we're gonna add some smaller holes here. I think I want this dragon to have the large holes like this. Again, I make them really light so I can adjust them later on. What I basically do is the first few lines, the very light lines, they are a concept. I'm not so sure about the hole in the back. I might change it later on in the drawing. I'm gonna leave it like that for now, but I'm thinking of making it like this. And that's like if I would have worked with a pencil, I would have just erased that part, but we can't, and it's a sketch, and we don't need to worry about our sketches. We learn from this. And because I still draw with very light lines, these are all still uncertain if it's gonna be like this. I might as well just make adjustments. And this shape of the dragon head is inspired by crocodiles and alligators. Many of my dragons are inspired by horses, as you may already know. But I also use different kinds of animals, and especially when you want to have the dragon with the mouth open so it can spit its fire. Then you find that alligators are a good reference for that. I'm not using a reference for this, but I'm using the sketch that I did before. And that sketch, it was inspired by alligators and crocodiles. And the fire, it has to come from somewhere. It's not like I always think I know dragons are fantasy creatures, but I do want it to have it make sense in any way. So I add some sort of tube here, which is a gland, which the fire will come out, because I'm imagining if it would come from the throat lower of the dragon, like here, the dragon would also need to eat and swallow its prey, and if it would have like a constantly burning fire here, the food will be vaporized by the time it will get to its stomach. So I think this should be like a separate channel, the same with how we breathe. We breathe through a different channel in our throat than we eat. So I'm not sure if I'm just rambling and you are like, yeah, you're not making any sense, but I like to think about how the dragon is kind of put together, so making up some sort of anatomy. I'm gonna add in some teeth as well. And the shape of the tongue. I'm just adding a little bit of shape for the tongue because we're also gonna draw the fire, which will go over the tongue. I'm actually thinking that the tongue of the dragon, it will probably be really dark, like some leather-like texture. And once we've added the fire, we will go back to the dragon head, and then we can darken all the teeth that we want to pay more attention to. But for now I draw really light so that we can draw over it where needed. Shading this really light already. I'm shading it with an up and down movement, but I will darken this area later on. I'm adding some lines here because this area is usually some softer skin tissue. And here there will be the nose bridge that will have a little bit of a shadow. So like I said, we are gonna finish the dragon head first, and then the fire will probably be another separate video. But do keep in mind that after we finish drawing the fire, we're gonna do some finishing touches on the dragon. But for now, it will be like nearly done. We're nearly gonna finish it. I don't know how to say that. And I shade with very light, short strokes. They call that hatching. If you want a different video about how I shade and hatch, I do have a video up about shading a dragon. But if you want videos about cross hatching and such, I can make that too. So let me know in the comments. Sometimes I just add like random spikes here and there because, well, I just feel like. And that's what I love so much about drawing dragons and other creatures. You can just keep creating and do whatever you want with them. Yes, this I'm gonna change this one. It's gonna be something like that. Sometimes I stand up and take a step back, and then I can see the proportions of the drawing better. And I recommend you do the same. Because we stare at it from one angle for a long time, and that can sometimes influence how we look at our drawing. And then when we're finished, we take a step back and we're like, oh, I don't like that at all. So to prevent that, we occasionally do that during the process. The most difficult part about making this video is drawing and talking at the same time. But that is something that I want to learn because I really love sharing this with you, and it really means a lot to me that my dragons inspire so many people. I never expected that, and I am very grateful for everyone who is here. As you can see, I just draw over what I already made. You see the other one here, but does it really bother you? Is it kinda falls away if you use darker lines? And this is what I love about ballpoint pen. You can't erase your mistakes, but by layering and using pressure, you can still make a very cool sketch out of it. And I actually like the fact that the wrong lines are still there. It adds a roughness to the drawing, but also a bit of chaos, and especially wyverns, they just feel like very chaotic creatures to me. I don't know how you feel about wyverns, but every time I draw a wyvern, I'm like, yeah, this is chaos. This is supposed to be a big mess. They're gonna spit fire, they're gonna make a mess out of everything, they're gonna burn shit down. And I'm gonna add some scale-like texture here that just like there are, I don't know, reversed seas. Just to add that texture. And I'm gonna do the same here as well. And this is the jaw. And this doesn't have to be perfect, it just indicates that there is a scale-like texture here. And our brain will fill in the blanks. And I mean, we can draw in every little detail and every scale, but then we go more towards hyperrealism. I have much respect for hyperrealism artists because it is so much work. But for a sketch, we don't need to do that. We just need to tell the viewer what texture there is. So if we draw just a couple, the viewer will know that it's there. And their brain will fill in the blanks. It's the same with like our brain knows that our nose is in our vision. But it just blocks it out. Because we don't need to see our nose. Unless we look into the mirror, of course. And again, I start to ramble. Well, this part will be in the shadows. I drew some wrinkles here because the throat is usually more flexible. It needs to expand when the dragon swallows its prey. And this part will be in the shadow. It's the placement of the drawing is very far in the corner, and that is because we're gonna let the dragon spit fire over here, and the fire will be there. So it looks a little bit weird now we're just drawing the head alone, but it will be better when the fire is added in. I want this dragon to have like a complete row of horns down its spine. And there is a shadow here from the horns that I'm gonna draw in, and it will also make the head come towards us a bit, so that it stands out more. I hope real-time videos like this are helpful to you because, yeah, like I said, I need to get more experience in explaining how I draw. And like I said, I'm just drawing, and I hope it comes across what I'm doing. And for this dragon, I got so many requests that yeah, if you want to learn how to draw this one, I feel honored, and I hope I can help you with that. And this is just some scale-like texture, and as you can see, I'm just scribbling it in. What matters is that we use the right direction. So I'm gonna draw in a line so I know the direction a bit better. And here I am shading with light ovals, and every time I touch the edge here, I use a little bit more pressure on the pen, so the shadow will be darker there. You may notice that the dragon that I'm drawing is not entirely the same as the one that was already in my sketchbook. That is because I just like to change things up a little. I do use the old one as a reference for this. But I added some more spines, and this is kind of how my dragons, how I improve them. I change things, see what works, and but like I said, I got so many requests for this one that I don't want to keep him from you or her. Usually when I work on my dragons, I think of the name while I work on them. So if you're drawing along with me, this might be a good time to start thinking about what you're gonna call your dragon. I often get the question if I draw other creatures too. I do, but mostly dragons and wyverns, and it kind of depends on how much time I have. But my Instagram account is mainly focused on dragons and dragon-like creatures. So I always make sure to have dragons for that. And sometimes I just don't have time to draw other creatures as well. But I also love to draw unicorns and horses. I draw when I go somewhere and I take my sketchbook with me, I often draw animals as well, because they're a very good practice for our dragons. But I really want to draw a hippogriff soon, or a phoenix, and creatures like that as well. It's just, sometimes I just don't have the time. The fire will be going this way, so we can finish the top part of the jaw. That will not be in our way. And when you're drawing along with a ballpoint pen, make sure that you wipe off the tip every now and then, because some residue of the ink will collect there, and it will leave a blob on your drawing if you don't wipe it off. Now I'm using very light lines to shade that in. And here I made a mistake with the teeth, so I'm gonna darken it a bit and no one will know. And I just draw in shapes and I fill them with lines to create some texture in the dragon. And I'm also gonna make sure I'm gonna draw in some sort of lips. The eye is a little bit inwards, and we're gonna create that by adding a shadow on the eyebrow, just by very small lines, but they're not straight lines. They I follow the shape of the eyebrow bridge, or not sure how to call that. I follow the shape of the eyebrow. And I basically fill the head with textures and decorations. And this part I'm shading with very light small ovals, and it indicates where the shadows are, because the bottom of the jaw will be darker, but also this will be a round shape. So to make it a little bit more 3D, we're gonna shade the edge of it, because the more it will go inwards, the more darker it will be. But it can't be too dark, because we still need to have that shadow here. And this way we'll create the effect of a round jaw. You can even have it stick it out a little to darken it here as well. These are going to be really light lines. And because we leave this area white, it will come forward, it will come towards us. And this is how we play with dark and light areas to create depth to our drawing. And sometimes people ask, how do I know if I have shaded enough? And the best advice I can give you there is you need to ruin a drawing. Because when you ruin a drawing, you'll learn how far you can push it. Because even I'm still too careful sometimes, and every now and then I'm just gonna make a sketch and I'm like, I'm gonna ruin this one, just to see how dark I can go without it looking bad. That's the only way you'll learn, by overdoing it. So then next time you're gonna draw, you'll know how far you can push it. I'm gonna emphasize this line here, gonna make it really dark. It will make the horn stand out more. And here as well, and as you can see, the mistake we made here, it's still there, but because we are making a dark outline in the horn, the horn draws attention to it, and this is very light and it doesn't catch the eye that much. Add a little bit more horns here. With the more prominent horns, I'm gonna shade the bottom part to make it more 3D as well. And right now we are shading, and while we're shading we're darkening lines constantly, because it's kinda loses its contrast when you shade, and then you need to emphasize certain parts again that you already did, so it doesn't get lost. I'm gonna add a little bit more scales here. And I also darken the area below the eye. Like I said, the eye is going inwards a bit, so that area would have more shadow. So basically with light and darker areas we make our drawing 3D. And this part I can also spend this part I can spend a lot of time on because I always get carried away, and I'm also my biggest critic. But we have to keep in mind this, we're gonna add the fire. So this part I'm gonna leave alone because we need to adjust that later on after we made the fire. But for the people who only want to do the dragon parts, if you want to finish this one, you should make the tongue really dark, and you should darken the inside of the jaw as well, but a little bit lighter than the tongue, so kind of between this and this. And again, while we're shading, we're constantly emphasizing details that we already drew in, but we made them less prominent because of the shading, but we want them back, so here they are again. The throat will overlap the jaw a little bit here, so I'm gonna draw that in, but it will be entirely in the shadow, so I make it really dark. So we nearly finished the dragon heads, and now it's time to add in the fire. The fire will be in my next video, and after we finish that one, we're gonna finish this part of the dragon. And that was the first part of this drawing. I'm already working on the next video, so I hope to have it up in a couple of days so you can continue your drawing. I also want to remind you that I do have a Patreon if you want to support me. It really helps me out, but also I have videos that go a little bit more in depth. I have more real-time videos, but you are also very welcome as a free member if you just want to be there and know more about my art. And with that, I thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you with the next one. Bye!